Hey everybody, welcome to the Faeforge Academy. Actually, would one of y'all talk? Because I'm scared I don't have the audio set up. We had some issues with it last year.
Oh.
Hello and welcome to the Faeforge Academy. Good to hear, Steven.
That just goes back to what we were talking about before we started the stream. I'm Steven. I am the producer, and GM is pretty low compared to everyone because I was podcasting.
Oh wow, that's better. I had no idea you were so quiet. Wild.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome to the Faeforge Academy. I am Steven, the producer, creator, GM, not GM of this show. A lot of other things. Before we get started with this wonderful show, with this wonderful cast, a couple things. First off, thanks to Roll20 for having us as a part of the Spotlight program and providing us with some really cool virtual tabletop tools. We have a shout out to Greenleaf Geek, who we are affiliated with. If you go to greenleafgeek.com for all your dice nerd needs and use the code Faeforge on checkout, that's a way to support the podcast, as well as Found Familiar Coffee, which is in my cup, keeping me awake. I'm a real life warlock that I made a pact with coffee. But if you use the code Faeforge there as well, you get a little discount, and that also goes... Oh, why is there something so loud driving by my house right now? It's street sweeping day, apparently.
I mean, I could just talk about coffee the whole time.
And maybe we should just have a coffee-only stream.
Can we?
Yeah.
One day.
Yep. And last but not least, we have one overarching rule at the Faeforge Academy, and that is respect. We respect people's identities. We respect their, whether that is gender, race, ethnicity, religion, all of those things. We respect those. We treat people with the respect that they deserve because they are a person, which means any form of bigotry or hate will get you kicked out immediately with no second chances. That's our big standard. And so if you're typing something in chat and you're like, maybe this isn't respectful, I would advise you to just follow that instinct, because it's, better to err on the side of respecting people. And with that, I want you lovely people to introduce yourself, and we're going to start with Leona.
Hello, I am Leona. You can find me on Twitter at the Leona Maple. Happy Holy to anyone who is celebrating. Happy St. Patty's Day to anyone who is celebrating. Today I am playing Sunflower, our beloved clockwork soul sorcerer, confused warforged, maybe something else. Who knows what's going on with her? Poor thing.
B.
Hello all, I'm your non-binary busy bee. I do stuff on the internet, but today I'm the enigmatic, the unflappable, the...
Legend.
Oh, I'm running out of adjectives. The legend! Morticia and Adam. She is a rogue, just a regular rogue who happens to have a shadow named Adam. Adam's pretty chill. Really does 90% of the things that Morticia should do, but is just incapable of. Like keeping herself alive, like performing any activity, like looking out for enemies. Adam does it all.
Mm-hmm. Prince.
Hey everybody, I'm Prince, also known as Dimples and Dice around the internet. I am playing Dracis, your fighter, old man, minotaur, who is struggling with some stuff and things, but is going to whip this group into shape eventually. Even Morticia, one day.
That's a bold claim.
That is.
I didn't know we were going for some PvP in here. And last but not least, our illustrious, incredibly talented GM, Chris.
Thank you, Steven. Thank you, everybody in chat. Thank you to my players. I'm Chris Geary. I will be the GM for today and for the rest of the Reclamation project as we discover more about these lovely PCs, Evastria, and what the future may hold.
All right, and with that, we're going to kick this off with our video. See y'all in a minute.
Heroes can be of all shapes and sizes. Across the millennia of Evastria's existence, her heroes have taken a multitude of forms. When I first met Tekwar Emberite of the Eightfold Forge deep in the mountains of Karen, both he and the volcano on which he built his quarters left a powerful impression on me and the other members of the Order of Eight. Today, his forge lay dormant like the volcano beneath it. The jagged peaks that form the crown of Tekwar's caldera kept it hidden from the world and would-be looters. Within the walls of the Eightfold Forge, our someday heroes reconnect the past of the Order of Eight with its potential future. Let us rejoin our adventurers, walking across the halls of literal giants as they begin to remember who they have always been.
All right, Chris, the table is yours.
Welcome back as we return to the Eightfold Forge, previously home to Tekwar Emberite, a fire giant, smith at least, We were in the octagon-shaped, forge that's part of his abode, his home. And we had found his anvil and smithing hammer, a variety of things, as well as we discovered a few other elements. First, we found a connection between the Maker's Mark on Drasus's sword and Tekwar. What did that, or how did that resonate with Drasus?
I think Drasus is struggling with this because the closer he gets to healing the sword and potentially himself, the closer he's getting to the end of his journey. And by end of journey, I mean end of everything for him. Like, this is final resting. And he is with this group and he's creating bonds, however fraught and new they are. And he's enjoying that. And so he's of two minds. I want to get this fixed. I want to have my son's soul released. I want to fix what's going on with me. But I also don't want to let this go because this is my last ride.
Mm-hmm.
And these clues, these things that I'm learning are getting me closer and closer to the end. That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah. One of the oddities that occurred in the moments surrounding, well, what was learned about Sunflower was there was a warmth that surrounded Drasus, kind of like a familiar hug or embrace. Not necessarily familial or necessarily intimate in any way, but comforting nonetheless. It seemed to emanate from Drasus's shoulders. It wouldn't take too much, detective work or investigation to assume it probably radiated from the sword itself, being likely where it was forged. The strange part, though, is that when Drasus blinks for the first time, once that warmth wrapped around him, those words in Giant make sense.
Damn.
If you remember and you look at your item, your sword, one of the things that Drasus gains at 5th level, which you hit last game or last session, was to be able to read and write Giant.
Indeed.
Morticia.
Yes.
This has been a wild ride, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been fantastic. Banging, clashing, new items, new places, new people, new names, new symbols.
Somehow this place has lights.
Yeah, they turned on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Lights don't do that unless you throw fire at them. But then they really haven't turned on their own, have they?
No, you kind of lit them. It's true. But yeah, somehow this place has a magical form of electricity. I don't know if it's the action of the forge or what. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, what are the lighting fixtures here?
They're large crystals that are embedded into the stonework.
Right, because I wanted to take one.
Mm-hmm. They're bigger than Morticia.
Yeah, unfortunately. A lot of things is. It's a regular problem.
Yeah. And
I want one of those crystals for my outfit. Just for Morticia. She needs this.
It's possible that in some of the rooms there might be smaller versions of these crystals.
Okay.
But y'all went and followed the compass, which took you to the right. There was another doorway in the second room to the northwest corner. And there was a beeline kind of heading directly for the anvil, for good reason, the Whimsy Stone. But only a cursory glance of the entirety of the room you're in, which stretches out beyond the octagon shape at the end where the anvil lays, was done. The immediate area was searched pretty well. It's a very well-equipped forge, if you're giant-sized.
Otherwise, this place is massive and ill-equipped for small people.
Yeah, I mean, you might have found a glove that could be a really good sleeping bag.
Ooh, yeah, so many spaces for your legs to go in,
Mhm.
you know?
You can change it up depending on the day of the week.
Yeah. Okay, I'm seeing some benefits.
There you go.
But I think I would like to slip away
Mhm.
and look for some smaller crystals. There has to be a way that Morticia can like either get Adam to wear this or I could wear this. Light up crystals is even cooler than fairy fire. Like you don't have to cast anything.
It's true. It's true. As you return to the second room, you'll find amongst those built-in cases in the three corners, or I should say framing them, are a series of, well, they're sconces, so about the size of Morticia rather than 2 or 3 times her size. And then behind the doors, the glass front doors, there seems to be smaller lights emanating out. So if we want to think in a modern sense, think about the undershelf lighting.
Okay.
There's a version of that seems to be happening within each of these. Now they're leaded front glass and a lot of it is wavy. So you can tell for sure that there are a lot of books in there for the most part.
Okay. So there's obstacles.
But there's also these lights. They're about the size, a little bit smaller than Morticia's head.
Okay. Do I have to open this case to get inside, or is there
You would
like...
have to open the doors to
Yeah.
get inside.
Oof. Okay, challenge number 1. I'm gonna try and open it.
Okay, it's locked.
Oh, I don't care. I'm gonna use my thieves' tool and pick it.
There you go. Now,
Do you
granted,
wanna
it's
yeah.
large enough that you may have to actually,
just go inside the lock and like...
not quite that large, but close. Like
Okay.
you might have to stick an arm up in there like you're a car mechanic rather than picking a lock as a
Like
thief.
you're trying to get candy from a vending machine.
Yeah, that kind of thing. That's a much better Morticia example.
Yes.
I'm
yeah.
picturing that in my head right now.
Right?
Morticia, like just
So
inside a candy machine.
close.
I can help. I got you.
Trying to stick her head in to get like a better angle.
We got chips. We got chocolate.
Love it.
Would you like a sleight of hand?
Absolutely. Give me a sleight of hand.
What do people roll for this nowadays? Did that roll go through?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. How's that 25?
It works quite well. You needed an 18. So
Oh damn.
you're like, this makes it easier. And you manipulate it mostly with your hands. You don't even have to get tools out because
I appreciate it. Adam is instructing me silently. Because I don't think Morticia would truly know how to unlock this.
it might even be in there, like guiding your hand a little bit in different spots. Yeah.
Up.
Your left, not my left.
It's all left.
And then you hear the lock release.
Success.
And you can open, it takes a little bit of oomph, but you can turn the handle. It's, one of the like L-shaped handles rather than a round handle. So
Okay.
a lever, you just kind of,
The ones that cats can open.
Yep, ones that cats and lots of pets can open. And you can open the door, and behind it, you find lots of books. But most importantly, on each shelf, you find 3 crystals that are lit up currently,
Ooh.
all the same color as what you saw in the other room. It's this. It's like opaque white, but when the light that comes through it is this warm red glow, and so you get kind of this this very homey feeling from it, rather than, so think like an opaque white quartz, except it has this very warm red glow that is it comes across much brighter than you think it would be.
Yeah, you think it would turn a little pink, but like the fact that it's still really red, that says a lot.
Yeah, and that's you find, like I said, 3 of them under, at the bottom, like the undershelf lighting for each shelf.
I'm going to take all 3.
There are 4 shelves worth, so technically in here there's 12 of them.
Well, I would like 4.
Okay.
5. I want 5.
5. Okay. You can detach 5 and give me just for fun.
Oh no. I am poisoned. Electrocuted.
No. We're gonna go with an athletics check, but Adam's helping, so we'll give you advantage.
Oh goodness, thank you.
Just to see how long it takes, because they're fixed pretty well.
How do I make it? There we go. Oops, I did it backwards, but it doesn't matter because it's 12.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It will... The first one takes a little bit longer than you would have liked. And I don't know if Morticia's the type to get impatient, but if she is, she might be getting
a little bit of foot stomping.
Yeah. By the time that it finally releases, and once you get one of them undone, you realize kind of how they're affixed to the shelf, and the others come much more quickly.
Ha! Now we can light up the world. But for now, they're nice trinkets. And with an armful, she's gonna go back to the forge.
Awesome. So back in the forge, Vincent, you had 2 pretty solid conversations, shall we say. Ones that resonated at the end of last session. One with Sunflower and the other with Drasus. Where is Vincent's mind at this moment?
Vincent, I think so we're in this octagonal forge room, watching Sunflower.
The north wall is non-existent, but the rest of them are walled in.
Watching Sunflower sort of interact with this forge, Drasus as well, and kind of some of these conversations about who we are and where we come from and stuff. And then thinking about like even trying to find this place, and Vincent being a little rash in just like basically killing the dude who was attacking the ship. I think he's like pretending to look like he's investigating. So he's like picking up some tools and moving things around, opening and closing drawers. But if you're watching closely, he's like opened the same drawer 5 or 6 times, as he's just sort of thinking about what it would mean to be different, to be like Sunflower struggling with like not having a past, and Vincent being almost too connected to his past, and thinking about what it means for Drasus to be like alive. And so he's just kind of doing that like aimless wandering, trying to look like he's doing something, but not really doing that well.
One of the things that you'll run across as you open and close the same drawer, and it takes a few times probably before it registers for Vincent, but unlike some of the other things that you've looked at, there is a ledger, like you might have seen in a business office or in a guild hall, that sort of thing, that is in that drawer. The strangest part isn't that there's a ledger there, it's that it's not giant sized.
I'll pick that up and start flipping through it. I think Vincent's most of his life has been very business oriented. So yeah, just start flipping through and see if anything sticks out.
It seems to be a manifest of orders. Yes, like orders from the Forge to other places, but also of the orders of 8. Which you remember Brina talking about, and a reference or two to them in the Vault of Riverheart. And you recognize those 8 symbols that you saw in the Vault of Riverheart and on the stone that Brina had. Those heraldic symbols, except now they're next to words, and you can actually read out most of them. Some of them have become a little smudged and might take some rolls, but
yeah, I mean,
you can read them out.
I would like to. I'll kind of snap out of my sort of self-reflection. I think I found something about this Order of 8 that we've been loosely following, I suppose.
Brina is extremely interested, as are the siblings.
And what? I'll just start reading out whatever I can.
Okay. Well, the first order that you kind of settled on as you were flipping through, realizing what it was, is called the Nephilim Syndicate.
Would I know any?
Among the members that are listed there, Tekwar is one of them. You will also note within that same group another familiar name. Well, I should say another name that you have seen before. It's not extremely familiar necessarily to you per se, but it is familiar to your recent experiences. And that, and I lost it in my notes again, is Drasus's son's name. Well, for the first name.
Ooh, what's his name?
Oh, it's the uncle that Drasus's
Why is it not in my notes?
Why is it not in my notes?
Oh no!
I'm looking in the in our thread on Discord, and that's where I was keeping it, and now I can't find it.
I don't know.
Oh, Sumac.
Oh, like the
Sumac.
seed, right?
Yes.
God damn it.
There it is.
Just should have told me it was food, and I would have remembered.
Yeah, there we go. But yes, there is a member of that order that's referred to by that name. Now, it could be coincidence. You have no idea how common that name is, other than it was used twice in Drasus's family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, big guy. This name, isn't this your kid sword's name?
Yeah, it is.
And it was in the vault that we were in as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a weird situation.
Oh, and we've done so many things that are just normal run-of-the-mill situations in our time together. It's a good point.
These things are no longer coincidences.
Right.
I guess is what I'm getting at.
That's why I pointed it out to you. Have you heard of, does the Nephilim Syndicate mean anything to you, or is that like a family thing?
Would that actually?
One thing that you that would be probably the most, I guess, present of a connection would be the belt of strength that you wear is actually referred to as, it has that word in its name, the Nephilim in its name.
Mm-hmm.
What did I name that exactly?
It is called Belt of the Nephilim.
Yeah, there we go. Belt of the Nephilim.
Right on the nose.
And it, well, from what you gathered, having it for quite some time, the Nephilim are celestial giants.
That is super cool. I've never put those two words together, so I just didn't know that was a thing.
Agreed.
Yeah, the nerd in me is like Nephilim, angel babies. But so Drasus passes this along, definitely to the group.
I don't know if I'm back yet.
And I'd also let Vincent know I think I might have something from them.
Well,
my belt is the belt of the Nephilim.
the Sunflower.
Yes?
Does the word Nephilim mean anything to you?
Chris, does the word Nephilim mean anything to me?
No, not enough. Well, let's see. Give me a history check with disadvantage.
Okay.
Because nothing would resonate for Sunflower, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have value.
Hmm.
Do we need to check the Warforged barcodes?
Compare the two.
Yeah.
Well then,
Serial.
I don't think I did that with disadvantage, but
serial numbers.
eh.
I don't quite know how to make disadvantage happen in my
That's
setup.
fine.
Sorry. I have a +0 to it, so take that how you will.
I'm not gonna make you roll again. That's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna waste that natural 20.
That's good DMing.
So that kind of bubbles up. Vincent, you would recognize, since Tekwar was related to this this syndicate, the Nephilim Syndicate, and this place in the Order of Eight is responsible, at least in part, for the creation of soulbounds, like our dear Sunflower. There's probably some sort of connection, just logically speaking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where the question for Sunflower came from.
However, what Sunflower, what you get is, I haven't heard that word or that name in a while.
Did I say that?
No, that was you. Sort of. It was in your head. It sounded like your voice, but it sounded more like you were talking to you than you were thinking it.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And as soon as those words finish, the thought kind of coalesces as your own. And as part of Ophelia's research, the blending of celestials like the Asamar, or devils or demons like I just blanked on
Tieflings?
the race. Tieflings, yes. The Nephilim were ones that came up in research where extending life by connecting to immortal beings, which was an early thought that didn't get a lot of progress. And in that research on other half immortal beings, so to speak, you came across the Nephilim, and you remember a footnote about a group of them called the Nephilim Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
But not much more than that.
Sunflower kind of like scratches her head at first, like she just like scratches the back of her head kind of confusedly, and I think her kind of first gut instinct is actually to repeat the words that were in her brain. So she kind of just says, I haven't heard that name in a while. Kind of not realizing
Kenobi.
why she's...
I think Drasis would see you scratch the back of your head, Sunflower, and be like, do your kind itch?
No. My head feels funny. I think I remembered something. Once upon a time, I was doing some research, about immortal beings. There was something about the Nephilim Syndicate, but nothing major. It was just a footnote in my notes. I don't know. It doesn't mean much to me. It's just a name that I haven't heard in a very long time, I suppose.
It feels like this is like sort of secret society-ish, doesn't it? Like,
sounds like one for sure.
so what happens now? We have these little connections. You two seem particularly connected. Morty, what are you carrying?
Oh! Hello! Oh, these are so heavy. I never thought I was going to make my way back. I got gifts for everyone. I have a light for you, Sunflower. A light for you, Drasis. A light for you, Vincent. It really will brighten up your pale, pallid complexion. You're going to benefit from this. And I have a light for Karis. And I'll pass.
Love it. Love it.
That's your leaf clip friend, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These are my only friends. Everybody else is.
Vincent's very uncomfortable with getting a gift.
Oh. Isn't it so pretty? I have like lipstick. Look. Oh, it's gonna key out. God damn it.
Amazing.
Perfect.
I was just adventuring without you. I know. I'm sorry. And I found some things. I found some books too, but who reads books? They're dusty. I didn't sneeze not once. Pulled out these crystals and I was like, bam! Now we have unlimited light source, magic free. Although it could be made into magic, I don't really know. What's everyone doing? We look very serious right now.
Oh, we just figured out that these two are very connected, even more than just to the anvil, to this place. So.
Oh, I mean, Sunflower was literally born here. You don't get more connected than that.
Sure, yes.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
And Drasis got his creepy sword here. Basically the same as being born. Same connections.
I did not get the sword from here, but it was made here, is my assumption, based on...
Same difference. So what are we doing with this information? Are we making more friends?
I feel like there's more to this place than just this room. Obviously, you found books. I'm a big fan. Books contain knowledge, and knowledge helps us understand things.
They were dusty. Boo.
Oh, yeah. Morticia, I figured you might want to know there are celestial giants. So, you know, in case
where?
you're unaware of things that were bigger than you, there's things that are way, way bigger than you. Like
at one
all
point,
the way up there bigger.
Yeah, I think at one point, like, here is to answer your where question.
Should I go looking for them?
No.
Ooh.
Okay, but that just sounds like a brand new friend that we haven't met yet.
That's
What's the issue? I'm
an
not
interesting
seeing...
assumption to make.
Of course. What are we doing with this info? I want to meet a celestial giant. They made Sunflower, probably. They made your creepy sword, probably.
It's celestial type types aren't usually big fans of me.
Is it because you're kind of dead?
Yeah.
Mostly dead.
I'm not dead yet. I want to go for a walk.
Oh, beautiful.
So we could just hide you or disguise you. I have disguises. I don't actually, but I can find some.
It's not it's an aura thing. It's not so much like I can look like anybody. I literally, as I'm standing there, I change to look like Sunflower.
Oh,
That's not
really cool.
Slightly paler. A little bit more of a matte finish.
That is a thing.
Oh, I love it.
I'll shift into Dracis. That's not the issue. And then I'll go back to what you know Vincent as.
Oh.
But
Wow.
When you're like me, there's some things. Do you remember when Dracis figured it out with his nose of wonder?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also because you looked just terrible. But yeah.
There's some things that just I can't completely disguise away.
Oh.
Makes a note, nose of wonder.
But what if there was a way? What if I could find a way to help you? I could use my shadows for good.
I don't know why you would, but
The way you said that implies that you don't always use your shadows for good.
Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I have dreams, and I think they're Adam's dreams where, them and I were just like collecting souls, hanging out with dead bodies,
What do you do
hanging out with the corpses on battlefields, and that doesn't sound like something I would do.
What do you do with the souls? Vincent gets very attentive to you.
Eat them?
Oh.
Yeah. I assume that's what happens to most souls. Some they get eaten either by a god or by Adam.
Is Adam a god?
Oh, no. He's a mistake. But he's also my best friend.
Wow.
I think...
Morticia's shadow droops a little bit when she says mistake. And then perks up a little bit when she says best friend.
Best friend.
I've never seen an emotional response from a shadow before. That was...
You are not paying attention. Adam is so emotive.
Well, I don't know. I guess the two of you who are so connected here, what do you want to do?
We should find more answers for Sunflower.
Should we keep looking? And the question isn't just to the group, it's almost to the voice in her head. She's not sure if the voice will answer, but she vocalizes the words anyways.
Noted.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you not want to?
Yes. No, of course I do. Of course I do.
Okay, then. Let's do it.
Okay.
I feel like I'm in good company. Looks at Sunflower.
Aww. Is the lit up stone that Morty gave us, is it warm? Does it feel warm?
That's a good question.
How would Sunflower be measuring that?
Well, she's still holding it in her hand, and like last time she felt warm, she kind of like felt it in her core. So like if her core feels kind of warm again, if her hand feels kind of warm again, if she kind of like registers that sensation, I think she would.
Gotcha.
That
So
warm.
comparing that,
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
it's still fairly new to Sunflower. To the others, the same question would probably come up as very slightly, but not enough that like you'd have to hold it and concentrate on it to tell that it was warm.
Okay.
Not concentrate like make it warm, but like actually concentrate on feeling the warmth, and it's there, but it's barely there. So not enough to be a heat source, but there is energy that is being like active in the stone, and that active energy creates a little residual heat.
I think Sunflower's like holding it pretty firmly. I feel like she's kind of like almost like holding it to like kind of like to her heart almost, just kind of like absent-mindedly. Like she's kind of just like holding it here, and she's just kind of like looking around, thinking, trying to see what else she can spot. Who has the Whimsy Stone again?
I think Vincent's.
Vincent?
No,
Yeah.
no, I gave it to you. I gave it to
Yeah, you
Sunflower.
did.
you were.
Yeah, I think you
Okay.
still have it.
Yeah, I think I still have it. So she'll pull out the Whimsy Stone and see if it shows anything different. She's kind of gets the feeling that it probably isn't going to point to a different direction in the dungeon, but who knows?
In your hand, it was spinning when you got to the forge. It seems to have come to rest. And it's just kind of lazily moving. So it's not really pointing, but it's not spinning any longer.
Right. So it's like this whole area kind of a thing, not necessarily something specific. Okay. So if I look at the group and she'll just say, "Well, we've come this far. Shall we try some of the other passageways?"
Ooh, do you want to go look at the books?
Yes.
I do love a
I
library.
could write things on the dust.
Sure.
The let's see. Brina is going to stay in the forge for now, and do more investigations on what she can identify there. And Nio will ask to accompany you, if you don't mind, to look at the books as well. Karis is going to stay with Brina. So the 5 of you make your way back to room 2 on our little guide. And as a refresher for the audience, this room has a very large table in the center with a bunch of chairs around it. In 3 of the 4 corners are built-in corner cabinets with leaded glass fronts and, now lights lighting them up, showing what's in them, which displays a large number of books. The glass goes from basically, I would say, on Vincent and Sunflower, about midway up your torso and then above for 4 shelves worth of books. And then it has an actual stone cabinet in the bottom with no discernible lock or handle, but it has the little lines as though there are doors there, or a door there, or of some sort. Or it could just be a relief, but it looks like there's the possibility of a compartment there. Around the table itself are 16 chairs, and it is a very large table in varying sizes, but most of them seem to be befitting of giants.
What a strange amount of chairs.
It's a very large table.
Okay.
I guess just as we walk in, is there anything that stands out as something that I don't want to say doesn't fit in, but just seems odd in this sort of a space?
I mean, outside of the different sizes in the chairs and the fact that it's 16, which is not a normal number that you're used to seeing, 8, 12, sure. It seems to be pretty plain. And then the 4th corner is another doorway with an halfway opened kind of door just sitting in that position.
Would it be fair to say that I would make a connection, or is this a correct connection, that perhaps this was a place where, since we've got some names of I have this book that is not giant sized, Like this, perhaps this Nephilim syndicate was more than just celestial giants.
Yeah.
And
Is it like a ledger? No, a manifest? What's the thing where you have a list of people on a plane?
Manifest.
A manifest. Yeah, is there a manifest?
That's kind of like what I have, right?
Yes, it seems to have a dual purpose. It lists memberships as well as like goods received, or in some cases, goods or supplies provided. But yes, inside the shelves, like you can go to the one that's already been opened, and you'll find that the books do vary in size. Some of them are giant sized, clearly.
I love that.
But they vary in size. Very similar to a lot of people's bookshelves, as we find books come in all different sizes.
Dun, dun, dun.
I think Vincent is going to do a quick glance through the books and then just kind of...
Yeah, look at the titles.
But then peek his head in the cracked door.
Okay.
While he's doing that, I would like to sit on all of the chairs, one at a time, and find the one that feels just right.
Okay, the one that feels just right for Morticia. I need to know in this moment, is Morticia feeling energetic, powerful, sleepy, or sneaky?
Oh, energetic.
Energetic? There's one with a really tall back that is like maybe like Dracis size or a little bit bigger. So it's not quite like regular human size. It's made for big humans, maybe.
Minotaurs are like tall and wide.
Yeah. So it's wider.
Can't reach each arms.
And it's got this really tall back on it with like the cathedral point.
Ooh.
And an ornate carving on basically all of them. Most of it's geometric patterns, not script or images, but clearly well made. And for wooden chairs and a wooden table, very well preserved.
Okay. Well, I think as Stephen is actually gone. I don't really have anything to contribute. So like a fantasy race car with a little crystal. Morticia's gonna like drive it around the grooves and the little geometry bits.
Nice. Love it.
But the fantasy version.
Is Morticia going to take the time to unlock the other two cabinets for people?
Nobody has asked.
Fair enough.
I was waiting, and like, no, I mean, you can smash it open, but I can also very, very easily open it.
Good to know. I was just curious if it was a proactive or a reactive task for Morticia.
Yeah, I guess that would not even come into play for Dracis unless he saw the cabinets and saw that they were locked. Like, otherwise, he's not.
I mean, you see that one of them is opened slightly, and that's but the other ones are locked. The one that's opened seems to be missing lights, while the other ones all seem to have 3 lights per shelf. This one seems to be missing 5 of its 12 lights.
Is that you?
Oh yeah, those are the gifts that I got. But I only got it for the people that I liked. Don't tell Brina.
Naya was like, okay. As he's looking through the books in the open cabinet.
I don't hear a thing.
So you said these chairs, they're all different sizes too.
Yeah, I would say 50%, so 8 of them at least, 9 of them exactly are what you would consider giant size, so they're bigger than Dracis, and the rest range in size from what you would expect of typical humanoid size to that larger than, Minotaur, that sort of size.
And I think Dracis just kind of ponder aloud, because maybe there was some kind of council or convene.
Perhaps a syndicate?
Yeah. Ooh, a syndicate's a council of like crime people.
Like a Nephilim syndicate?
Whoa.
Suppose it does make sense.
I never thought of that.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's the name of the people who were here. That's why I said it.
Okay, so there was a crime syndicate. They built stuff, cool stuff, weird
Why
stuff.
did they have to be a crime syndicate?
I've only heard those words in conjunction. I never separated them. Do they exist independent?
Why?
It's two separate words, actually.
In the Feywilds, if you're a syndicate, you are a crime syndicate, and you only do crime.
Well,
Is that not the same out of the Feywilds?
I mean,
I thought it was like chaos syndicates or something. I
Oh,
don't
it's the same difference as crime most of the time. Oh, that rhymed.
I'm just saying from how words are structured, crime doesn't have to go with syndicate. Is all I'm saying.
I'm gonna sit here on this chair and think really hard about the word syndicate.
Was there anything interesting behind that door, Vincent?
Was there anything
Changing
interesting
the
behind that
subject
door,
from,
Chris?
fall down this rabbit hole.
Behind the door, the lighting is a little eerier. It's not as warm, and the shadow's a little longer, and the air a little cooler. But otherwise, not that you noticed.
I'm going to. There's been too much like friendship happening, and and so Vincent's just gonna kind of walk through that door, and and start looking with the stone that Morticia gave him.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Just kind of walking, and if someone was like eavesdropping or spying on him, you'd hear him just sort of muttering like, "Why am I here? What is this? What is going on? This is a waste of time. How is this going to help?" And then just keep looking and wandering, kicking stones.
Is Sunflower gonna take a look at those books? Because like I as B am genuinely curious, but
I
Morty will never
definitely-
look.
No,
I
I'm
need to know.
definitely planning on taking a look.
Okay. Is there anything particular that Sunflower would want to take a look at?
Not too sure. I think she's just kind of see if anything jumps out at her for now.
Okay.
Crassus is trying to open cabinets. I'm looking at things. I'm like,
The
is there
cabinets,
weapons in
the
here,
cabinets are
stuff that I
locked.
can take?
From what you can see, because the glass, though it is wavy glass, it is still, you can see through it. These are all seem to be books of sorts. Some of them have, you don't know if they're bookends or if they're some sort of like ornament or something, some piece of artwork or whatnot. But there are things also kind of taking up space in some of those positions where books might have been. But give me, just for grins, a sleight of hand check as you are kind of fiddling around with them.
I hope you fail miserably.
Oh God. That's not bad. Not bad at
Oh,
all.
that's good. Yeah. 16.
Drasus too will notice what looks like there's a compartment underneath each one in the stone. The thin line that you see seems to be too purposeful, too symmetrical, too clean to be anything other than a seam. It's not, and it's too deep to just be some sort of like flourish that was added to the stone, especially since the front is extremely plain compared to like the furniture and to the cabinets above. So to have such a plain flourish here would seem counterintuitive, or like they just ran out of time, which, based on everything else in this building, you doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So that part does stand out. I need percentage dice from Stephen.
Concern. 77.
77. Ooh, I like that number.
lucky number 7s, please.
As you are out there in the back hallway, passing through the room, as you pass through room number 5, it seems to be more like, almost like it's a widened corridor. There are things, the boxes, crates. A lot of this did not stand the test of time that room 2 seemed to have. There's a more dilapidation that occurred. The stone itself seems fine, but anything in it, the ravages of time seem to have taken their toll. But this seems to be like somewhere that they stored a lot of things, including a couple shelving units that have collapsed along the walls. Whatever magic it is that's holding the other parts of the building together currently doesn't seem to have its strength in this particular place. And as you make your way further to that back hallway and that door there, which is wide open, you'll notice a faint glow coming from the left, your left.
Okay, so towards room 4.
Towards room 4. Mm-hmm. And you will hear, well, at least they can't see you, find you, or talk to you here.
Does that sound to me, or like I hear someone talking to someone else?
You don't hear anything else other than what's behind you in room 2.
Okay.
So if it was to someone else, you do not hear the movement of body, like just shifting of feet, any of that kind of like regular movement that would give away that someone else is in this space.
Is it a voice I recognize?
Vincent's been around for a while. Tell me, has Vincent ever spent any time caring about the ins and outs of the celestial gods?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I feel like, especially as he's tried to push away from his pact, like pursuing any avenue that might have some bearing on where his soul actually ends up.
Are there any of them that you would have spent more time due to their influence with than others?
Probably Leon Tell, just searching for knowledge, trying to find as much information as possible.
It reminds you of the way that Leon Tell, or messengers of Leon Tell, mostly, because Leon Tell, like all the gods, has a very limited connection to this plane, or at least had. It reminds you of how the messengers have been described interacting with followers of Leon Tell.
Are you talking to me?
Who else would I be talking to? Are you hiding someone in there?
No.
And the glow starts to get a little brighter, but not like flash bright. And if you take a look down the hallway that direction, it'll be like, if you've ever watched a sci-fi film and they have like a being of light kind of silhouette, it's that concept.
Okay. Yeah. Vincent will take a peek, and does that light have some sort of like radiant sort of energy that I would feel coming off of it?
Give me an Arcana check. Or actually, what is your base Arcana?
I do have a base Arcana. Oops. Hold on. Where's that sheet? There it is. My base Arcana is 4.
Okay. So, yeah, I would say with a because that would be like a 14
Mhm.
kind of
Passive.
arcana. Yes, you can tell that it's radiant energy, not just simply like an illusory light spell or actual like heat generated light.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but
Vincent will kind of peek and be like, I would be happy to have a conversation with you. I would just like to do it from a distance, please.
I understand.
What do you want from me? Why are you talking to me?
You asked a question, I gave you an answer.
Why are we here? What's here?
I said, at least here they can't find you.
Who's they? Are you talking
Your
about
patron.
Oros? Fuck. Okay. Well, I guess not fuck. That's good, I suppose. But what do I do from here? Why am I with these fools?
That's an excellent question. Why did you choose to travel with them?
Magic stones, weird disappearing. I don't know. It's finally some sort of maybe headway. I've been working on this for a long time with no progress.
Mm-hmm.
And this is progress, I guess.
It is something, yes. But what? But why them? Was it just the Whimsy Stone? You could have stolen that ages ago.
I don't know. Maybe just trying to turn a new leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Most people I'm around end up dead. I mean, honestly, will probably happen to the three of them as well. But I'm not going to try to be the cause of it.
Well, that's good and admirable.
Thank you. I am pretty admirable. That's true. No, but I mean, okay, we've got one person who has no memory, who could be as old as I am, but they only remember 3 years ago. We've got a guy who thinks he's old, but he's like basically a preteen. He's got a talking sword that's connected to this place, and someone with that eats souls. Like, that's all connected. It, like, there's just weird pieces moving around here that it doesn't make sense that whatever started this whole thing in that tavern brought the four of us together and had this stone. And how am I supposed to not travel with them? Why would I not?
We all
at
make
least-
choices.
Well, yes, thank you. I'm very aware of the choices I've made. You're very smart.
And these are very different choices that you've made.
Well, yeah, because the last choices have not worked out super well.
That's growth.
Fuck you.
Are you here seeking growth?
No.
Then why did you
Maybe.
come?
I don't. I would like to have my own soul, is why I'm here.
Okay.
Seems like a pretty reasonable request, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're connected to Leon Tell. You're not Leon Tell. I'm not like talking like this to a god, right? You're
Correct.
about to
I would never wish to mislead you that I was more than my station allows.
Thank God.
Which one?
I hate you. All of you. All of you powerful things.
You're quite the powerful being yourself.
I was.
You are. You are in the same way that your compatriot still has a memory.
She does.
Accessing it is different or difficult.
So what do we find down here besides just hiding? And You're supposed to be part of this pantheon of knowledge.
And at the same time, there is a book in your hand filled with it. There are people around you to share knowledge. And yet you are seeking it elsewhere.
I'm fairly confident that if I go over to Morty and say, I need help figuring out how to get my soul back, she's not going to be super helpful.
Are you going to use those exact words?
What other words would I use?
I don't know, ones that fairies are more inclined to help with.
I need to cause chaos with a demonic being who could wipe out all of us by thinking about us?
Fairies are not demonic.
No, I'm talking about Oros.
Oh. I mean, who better to cause Oros a headache than the Fae?
Actually, that's a... Shit. All right, do you have any other nuggets of wisdom you'd like to pass on to me, or are you just going to keep being enigmatic and I need to go talk to my friends again? Did I just say friends out loud?
Yes, you did.
What is happening? This is your fault. And he'll turn away and he'll turn and walk back into the room.
And the light, as soon as you start to turn, the light winks out.
So Vincent
but you
will...
can tell that person or that being is smiling. In that, like, aha, I knew it the whole time kind of smile.
So as Vincent walks back into the room, he'll burst through the door, and you'll hear back down that hallway, "Fuck you!"
Wow, things got heated over there.
Yes.
You okay?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine.
You're
Okay.
yelling "fuck you" at the darkness, so...
Or the celestial giants.
A celestial, yes. Giant, no.
You met a celestial down here.
Yeah, just, I don't know if
You didn't introduce us. You didn't think that was important information.
No, he
Yeah,
was
where
an
were you
ass-
this whole time?
I was just down the hall. He was being very annoying.
Did you get his name? A number?
No, I don't want to talk to him again. I have no interest in talking to him again. He did not give me very much help. And I feel like it was a waste of time. Morticia?
What's up?
This rock was a very nice thing to give to me.
Oh, you're welcome. I stole it.
Thank you.
They're the best gifts.
Okay.
You steal it. There's no one here to steal from.
The dead are always watching. Anyways,
Right back to creepy.
So I guess one of the other people that we're traveling with is with us, right? In here?
Nio.
Two of them.
Nio,
Oh, just
leave.
Nio. Okay.
Leo, go to the other room.
Oh,
Go
okay.
away.
He has two books in hand. He looks at them, puts one down, and
Leave both the
walks
books.
into the other room.
Leave both the books.
Okay, turns and sets it on the table.
Good fellow.
He saw what you did to the prisoner. He's not waiting for you to ask twice.
I might need some help.
Okay. Breaking stuff, stealing stuff, breaking and then
Hey, he
stealing.
is capable of asking for help. Oh, wow.
Shut up. Shut up.
Oh, congratulations!
What's the
So,
matter?
well,
He needs help.
Yes, just hold
well,
on.
There's a couple things. One, I guess apologies probably first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, not you. You're doing great. Keep stealing stuff. Keep
Okay.
the chaos. I might get you all killed. Not on purpose. And I'm not going to be the one doing the killing, probably.
What makes
Okay.
you think so?
Yeah.
So, you know how I'm not, like, the most alive?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I made a business deal. I don't know. A while back. Before at least 2 of you were probably born. I'm not sure about Sunflower. You're so interesting.
Were you a part of the syndicate? Is that
Um,
where you made your deals? Because that's where you do crime deals, syndicate deals, right? Crime.
You could say I was involved in a syndicate, sure.
Oh my god, there's more?
There's a lot of them. But there's this fellow named Oros who allowed me to be like this, to not die totally.
Okay.
And I did it because if you all aren't from Riverheart, but the 5 families that run Riverheart, basically take advantage of people who don't have much. And I grew up in a family that didn't have much. I watched my mom and my dad get worked to death, essentially, to make sure that we could sometimes have enough food, that we could sometimes have the things we need to survive. And I swore to myself that I would not let that happen anymore. I would not let people take advantage of me. I would not let my family get hurt. And over the last 50 or so years, I figured out that I was what I hated. I took advantage of people. I didn't value their lives. But I don't know how to do anything else.
Well, you just asked for help, so that was a lot.
Yeah, I guess. I need to get my soul back.
Where'd it go?
Well, it's sort of in this, holds up his cane. It's sort of in this, but I don't have control over it.
Can we smash it?
But
The cane, not the soul.
I think that would end bad for me, and that would
I
give.
don't think that's how you want to
and
handle
that,
that situation,
that would
Modesha,
give-
but
Oros,
okay.
Oros is a very powerful thing. I'm not even sure they're. I don't know if they're more of an idea than anything.
You
But-
gave your soul to an idea?
I don't totally know all of it, but if they get my soul, that means they get more powerful, and if they get more powerful, they can use more people like me who are very happy to sign over their soul and keep wreaking havoc on the world, and I don't want to be a part of that. And so I was hoping that maybe if I was honest with you, that we could do that together.
Can I roll insight to see if I believe him? Because not only this might be the most that Vincent has ever said. 21.
He's telling the truth.
Huh.
Drass is just staring at you.
It all
Stop
feels
it.
very genuine.
Anyways,
I don't know how to help. Adam says we might have hung out with souls, but I don't know really why or what do we do with them. I just remember it being very lonely.
Why are you telling us this? I mean, seriously,
I just have a belief that we're all connected more than maybe any of us would have thought the first time we sat down at that tavern. And I don't not like you.
that's a double negative.
That means you hate him?
No,
What is it then?
I don't not like you. I'm not gonna. Don't.
What?
That's all I'm gonna say.
I think we're all broken in some way. And that might be our connection to each other or what have you. And I think the gods, fates, whatever has forced us together. And so, yeah, I'll help you, dead man. I'll help you.
And I hope I didn't come across as I only want you to help me. I want to help you with your sword situation and find your memory. And Morty, I have to be honest, I'm not sure if you need help with anything.
No, I just want friends. But like friends who actually like me and don't think that I'm gonna steal their souls. You know?
You can't steal mine, so I guess that's a good start.
Well, move out, Sunflower, Vincent, you're my new best friend.
Oh, that's a pretty intimate title.
You don't...
Do you actually have friends? Have you had friends?
Adam taps you on the shoulder, Morty.
Oh, no, you're my new... You're like the forever best friend. You don't ever move up or down in the ranks. Yeah, the ones with, like, corporeal bodies, they gotta fight for my affection. Yeah, you're good.
So I guess, what do you... Have I had friends?
Yes. Doesn't seem like that complicated of a question.
It's been a few hundred years.
Why?
I am not the nicest person.
No shit.
Listen, when
That's nothing new.
no the line of business that I was in, I was the head of one of the 5 families at sort of until things started to fall apart, which means that
That's a crime syndicate.
Yes!
Yes, I guess you could say that.
The only kind.
But I learned my business career began with me making a deal about my soul, and I didn't take souls, but I was... Fear is very effective.
I've marched armies. Fear is absolutely effective.
I'm very good at it, if you've seen what I can do with my self.
I only have one more question for you, old man.
Mm-hmm.
Decaying man thing, whatever. Without a soul, are you capable of actually showing real emotion?
I think he's showing real emotion right now.
He'll-
And
Or is
Sunflower,
it just a
Sunflower,
simulation? I don't know. I'm asking. And I think you, Sunflower, I wonder the same about you. It's not a insult. I just don't understand.
I don't understand either, friend. And Sunflower will kind of move over to Vincent. She won't hug him, but she'll like place a hand on his shoulder, like just like a silent show of support and solidarity. Like, you know, she's absolutely going to help. She doesn't know why, and she doesn't know why fully she understands Vincent or why she kind of like empathizes with his pain, but she, you know, she's going to help. She just is.
Vincent will flinch for half a second. Just, I am I capable of emotions? Yeah, just the ones that are come most naturally aren't always pleasant. But I have been working on something. I'm not very good at it yet. Is there like dirt on the ground in this space?
Not really. There's dust. There's more biological material in that room where the bookcase and stuff decayed.
I'll like just kind of briskly walk into there, grab some decayed, rotted wood, and bring it back in. And I'll like, you've seen Vincent do some pretty strong magic stuff, and you have not seen him concentrate this hard. And you watch as a little bit of, like, almost like energy from his body, that's this sort of like teal green, starts to slowly move into this pile of like old rotted wood, and a small little bud appears, and he's using Druidcraft, but it's almost like he's using the effort of casting like a 3rd or 4th level spell. This is, and it's just this small little lily. He'll give it to Drasus and say, this is the first piece of life. Not the first, I've been practicing kind of when you all aren't watching me. But I started to be able to create living things.
Drasus, let me see it. Drasus.
I think Drasus is just holding it in his hand, just kind of like out and sort of staring at it.
Huh. Well, you have to see if it'll pass the test.
The test?
What test?
I am going
Don't
to
bite it.
punch it.
What?
What?
How bruised does it look?
However hard she punched a newly grown daisy, and it's
I'm 12 inches tall. You decide.
It reacts to your punch the way other flowers have reacted to your punch in the past.
This is so good! Oh, I can... Here, let me just fix your daisy, though, and I'll cast the exact same spell, because I also have it. Because I'm a fairy! And I'm gonna make an even bigger, prettier one.
Show off.
Okay.
Do you want to see if it passes the test?
Am I supposed to hit it?
Yeah!
No, not in my hands. Here, take it back.
I'll like flick it.
It reacts like any other flower. Yep.
Oh, so good!
And
Okay, so not everything in you is dead.
the last thing is, part of this, I've been thinking about it a lot, and he drops this humanoid form that you've seen. His hair grows to about his shoulder length. His eyes are like bright violet, like they almost feel like they glow. Skin is almost not pigmented. He says, my real name and myself, this is what I look like. This is me.
Oh, you got long hair.
Yeah, I don't cut it very often because I can just make it look different if I want to.
Huh.
My name's Kiro.
With a K or a Q?
With a K.
Nice to meet you.
So, you all are the first people I've told that since my parents died. About 550 years ago.
Would you like a hug on your shoulder?
No,
I'm not very good at them.
No, that's...
Arm?
Maybe a high five.
Just don't break my arm.
I put my hands up.
Fly India. Slap.
Anyways, we should stop talking about me now.
Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing. This is what friends do. This is what I've always wanted. Vulnerability, secrets. I've always wanted to share secrets in a creepy forge with my friends.
I just don't want you all to get killed because you know this about me. So,
Oh, we're all gonna die anyways.
if you change your mind, apparently this is a safe place. What the radiant fucker told me.
What about it is safe?
Said I can't, that my patron can't find us here. I don't know. It's actually kind of weird. You should peek in. There's like some sort of magic holding everything together in here. Because in that room, like everything, like I think they were shelves, but it's hard to tell. Everything's decayed.
Huh. I would like to go look.
Okay. And when you do, Morticia, you'll find the same thing. The walls are standing fine, but the lights are, there isn't that red warmth to them. They're more of an eerie kind of
spooky,
like street lights when there's a little bit of mist in the air kind of look. And there's the decayed, what these look like could be crates and shelving and other goods that have been stored here.
What kind of goods are we talking? If I could send Adam in to go look, like I'll hover and like linger and supervise.
It would be a variety of like household goods, things that you would need for everyday living,
but not crime stuff.
But not crime stuff. No.
What?
And most of it, honestly, is decayed to the point where it's unidentifiable if it wasn't for some of the other like logical markers of the type of container that's still remnants of like pottery or whatnot, those kinds of things. But much of it is
trash.
Yeah.
Okay, she's gonna go ahead and fly out angrily. Not Vincent! I didn't write down your name, so I forgot it. There's nothing but garbage in that room. Were you talking to garbage?
Well, no, there was a, I don't know, this is such a ridiculous word. An angel, I guess.
Okay.
They were
Heard
glowing.
about those in storybooks.
They were glowing. They said that actually you would be particularly very helpful in helping me with my situation, because who better than to cause chaos with I don't even know what Oros is, a bad demon devil thing, than a fairy who loves nothing more than causing chaos.
You say potato. I say I'm just living my life, but yeah.
I didn't say potato.
No, I'm pretty sure you did.
Okay.
I think Drass is still holding these flowers in his hands. Just kind of looks at Vincent, brushes the flower off the hand, probably crushes it.
That was really okay.
Just all things must come to an end, and if it's this pact with whatever god, demon, creature you've made, it's got to come to an end too. Andrastus sticks out his hand for a handshake.
Vincent looks at it for a second,
I
kind
am
of confused.
Andrastus Honorheart. It is a pleasure to meet you, Karo.
Your fucking name's Honorheart?
I love it.
That makes sense why you didn't like me. You live up to your name. And sticks his hand out.
Vincent? That was the same last name of the Nephilim, Sumac Honorheart.
I realize from your reaction that I didn't express my surprise at your name very well. Dresses, you seem to be a very honorable person, which makes me uncomfortable. Says more about me than you. The name in this book was what was was Sumac Honorheart.
Mm-hmm.
That is my son's name.
Your son is a crime syndicate, crime lord, boss.
In fact, yes, that was the leader of the Nephilim Syndicate at the time that
oh my god,
manifest was written.
Sumac.
Like Sumac honor is kind of a big deal, I think.
Which makes sense. Your family was very elated when you named your son Sumac to continue. They didn't push it on every generation, but they tried to keep at least one living member with that name, and you never knew why. Sometimes a middle name.
I'd let them know about that, and I killed him.
Your son? Or why? Something I would do.
Because he actually was leading a crime syndicate. He's bringing dishonor to the whole family.
Shit.
And unfortunately, in that situation, he got stuck in this.
Oh. Can we help? We have so much to accomplish. We can do this.
I think if I can get it repaired, then maybe his soul will be released.
Oh, okay. And what do you want to do with that soul? Just send it into the sky, into the ground?
I want his soul to be free.
But we'll talk about souls sometime.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing! Literally nothing!
Oddly enough, Morticia notices this. What's your passive perception,
Oh gosh.
Drasus?
Oh, dresses.
I am at a, let's see, 11.
Okay. Does
The
anybody
eyesight
have a
ain't what it used
passive
to be.
of 14 or higher?
Um,
I know Morticia does.
Whoops, wrong.
not I.
Passive is 16.
So Vincent will also notice that Adam is patting Drasus on the shoulder as he's talking.
Oh.
That's really sweet. Adam licks us. So, we have a couple of souls to save. Adam, stop. We're not talking about
What?
that soul anymore.
What
did-
soul is Adam talking about?
Well, he was just asking, like, what happens if Drasus' son's soul just goes up into the air? Souls don't really just, like, hang out in the air. They usually go places. If you follow a god, they'll go hang out in the god's power source. If you've never followed a god, it'll go towards the earth. If you really hate the earth and you don't believe in God, sometimes demons will take your souls. And sometimes your friends will, too.
Can you, if we finish this, can you not take my son's soul, please?
Oh, since you asked nicely, yeah. That's all you had to do. Nobody's ever asked me to be like, hey, don't take my soul. They're usually like, oh, I'm dying. Can you help me? And I'm just like, no, you have to die.
Don't
That'll
take my
help you.
soul either.
Okay. I got it.
What do you do with souls?
Adam eats them.
And they just go away?
Probably make them stronger. Adam, what? Oh, he just made a crash joke.
What? What is that?
It wasn't funny. I'm not going to repeat it.
Okay. Well, does Adam know if, like, the souls that he eats, like, do they find rest, for lack of a better word, of, like...
Yeah, no, definitely. They don't really become anything, but they do rest.
If you can have mine when we're done.
Ooh,
I'm so tired.
thank you. Adam really likes that. This is #1 spot. Sunflower, what are you gonna offer? What can you offer me that is better than a soul.
Ever since Drasus kind of like crushed the flower and like brushed it off of his hand, she kind of moved away from Vincent, and she moved to like scoop up the flower, and like she's just been very quietly listening this whole time. Absolutely, she's going to help Vincent or Hero. Absolutely, she's going to help Drasus, and clearly there seems to be something about Morty that maybe isn't quite right, and absolutely she's going to help that as well. She's kind of mulling over like how Drasus said, that it was time for Vincent's soul to be free. And at the same time, she's kind of like looking at the flower and how it was just suddenly crushed. And she goes, but it wasn't time for this one to get hurt. And she's just kind of like contemplating time. I think is the best way to explain it. She's processing a lot. And I think she's really just contemplating time and space and hearing something in her head that didn't make sense and did but didn't, and felt familiar but didn't, and a memory that she never had before but was clearly hers, and she doesn't really have much to offer other than picking up the crushed flower and holding it out to Morticia. I'm just kind of shrugging.
This is a beautiful gift. I would like to, without Drasus judging me, eat the flower. I don't need to make a roll, probably.
I don't think Drasus will be paying very much attention to you right now.
Not gonna lie, Sunflower does flinch a little when you eat the flower, but she doesn't say anything because she's already dealing with a lot.
As Morticia takes the first bite,
Mm-hmm.
Neo comes back in, actually rushes back in.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
And says, it seems like we have company.
Vincent turns back into the Vincent that they're familiar with the second he hears someone running back in.
Okay, lead us to them.
Drasus gets up.
They're coming to us. I don't know how they or who they are, but Jamba said that skeletons rose out of the ground and are marching on this place.
That checks out.
Does it?
Vincent just gives the like.
And that's where we're going to wrap up this session.
What? That was 2 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Hour and 45.
I call us.
Oh, amazing.
Damn.
Chris, thanks for just letting us do our thing.
That was really nice.
You're fantastic at that. Everyone,
you guys were doing all the heavy lifting. I just kind of prodded in spots.
Everyone who's here in chat, thank you so much for hanging out. We are going to get a raid lined up, but while I'm doing that, my lovely cast members, who I've had so much fun role-playing with today, tell everybody where they can find you, who you are, all that stuff, and we'll start with Leona.
Hello, I am Leona. You can find me on Twitter at @TheLeonaMaple. Twitter is the best place to follow me and keep up with what on earth I am doing, because I do too many things. I am your friendly local intersectionality consultant. Tonight, you can also find me over on Weave the Tale. We are playing Pathfinder, and I am playing Dahlia, who may or may not have just picked up a curse last time we played, so she's also got voices in her head, and there's shadows that lie or don't lie, or do they tell the truth? Who knows? It's a whole thing in the Stormlands. You're definitely gonna want to find out what's going on with her. Yeah, that's me. Thanks, y'all.
B.
Hello, I am your non-binary busy bee. You can find me on Twitter as @B_Zelda. I am a podcaster. We released a new episode of Anime Attaché, so make sure you give it a listen. We're covering Cowboy Bebop. Steven and I, our third student, is busy not making babies, but like the physical creation of them. The alien involvement where your body gives its resources. Baking!
Yeah.
So our other student is baking. So with that very detailed description, I hope it motivates you to give it a listen. I am also a TTRPG streamer. You'll have to follow me on Twitter to figure out what I do as well. I'm the community manager for D&D Adventures League. If that is your jam, we are hosting a virtual weekend this weekend. There's that new Critical Role book that came out. You can play that. Have fun.
The second most popular Thursday D&D show.
Yes, second.
Prince.
Everybody in Prince, also known as Temples of Dice around the internet, and that's where you can find me: Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all that jazz. Let's see, it is a Thursday, so next time you'll be able to see me, I'll be over on Vancouver by Night on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Play a Banu Hakim assassin turned seneschal of the Camarilla, which has been a very interesting sort of role-playing experience for sure if you're a vampire fan. I am also the storyteller for Vampire the Masquerade Philly by Night over on Rolling These 20s, which is my sister station. You can catch that at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Sunday, you can catch me running my own D&D campaign, Wayward Revelry, which is a Wild Beyond the Witchlight campaign, which has been a blast to run. That is at 11 a.m. Eastern. And they're probably going to be heading into the Prismere this week. So you'll want to see what my Feywild looks like. Might be a good time to join us. I'm in a bunch of other things, so do follow me on Twitter for all of the announcements. That's it.
And Chris.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Geary. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Geary. You can find me here on Thursdays as the GM for the Reclamation project. You can find me guesting on the Hype Goblin Nexus Adventures on Sunday morning starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. I don't want to compete with Prince over there, but that I'll be there for a short stint. And other than that, you can find me working behind the scenes right now, a lot of behind the scenes, for Omen's Rising, a tabletop RPG that is card-based. Hopefully we'll have more announcements for that soon. Right now, we're working on lining up a cover artist.
I'm a little bit biased because I got to do some alpha playtesting, but it is such a cool system. Omen's Rising is. So keep your eyes out for that, for sure. And I'm Steven. I am your host and producer and podcast editor and lots of other things. We have a new episode that drops tomorrow. It's actually one of my favorite episodes we've recorded with our regular Faeforge cast. We do a time hop, which is fun. So there's lots of like just our characters going on little adventures. Yeah, so every Friday at the Faeforge Academy. We'll be here next week on Thursday. And then some Fridays, me and other Chris, who's on our cast, Tiny Poison in chat, play Baldur's Gate. Michael Critz shows up sometimes too, and we have fun there. So lots of fun stuff.
Wait, have you never invited me to play Baldur's Gate?
We've only done 2 streams.
That's fair.
So.
I don't have to update it, and it's like 80 gigs to update.
But I'm just saying, Chris, we just I'm just saying. I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna go raid Omnis X, so hang out, make sure you join that raid, jump over so they get all the correct views, and send lots of love their way, and we'll see y'all next week. Bye.